A little bit about Ireland. You're a rugby man now, Owen, having ventured out to the World Cup. There were some surprises even for you, I would suggest, in the squad that was finalised yesterday.
The big surprise for me is Rhys Ruddock not being in the squad. I think you're a pretty big Rhys Ruddock fan. I think he's done very well for Ireland and for Leinster over the past couple of seasons. I think he's possibly, you can make the argument, he's in better form than some of the back rows that have been included in the squad. Like, you have Niall Scannell, who missed out as well, who I'd also have a lot of time for, so that's a bit of a surprise. Like, the kind of, you question how big the transition is going to be from the disaster against New Zealand in the World Cup, and perhaps it's not actually that much of a departure.
Yeah.
Like, you have Rob Kearney and Rory Best, who aren't going to be involved anymore, you suspect. You have the two names that I've already mentioned, and then you have like a couple of injuries as well. Obviously Joey Carberry won't be involved, but so that's kind of opened the door for a few new names to come in, like the Leinster boys in the back row, Doris and Deegan. They unquestionably are going to get their opportunity
over the course of the 5 games, you would hope so. Can we just stick the squad up there again? Because I'll actually just read it for people who are kind of half paid attention to it yesterday. The top line story was obviously the fact that Johnny Sexton is going to be the captain for us. So if we can just stick the squad back up again. And I'll read through it for anybody who's listening to us on OTB Sports Radio. So the forwards, funnily enough, that when they released it, they actually released the squad by provinces, which was really interesting because it's a complete turnaround. And this one has the forwards, backs, and then development players. So we now know exactly who's going to be going in. Robert Ballacoon, Harry Byrne, Will Connors, and Ryan Baird are in the training sessions. They're getting access to the first team. Again, all being told about this is wonderful for us to be able to have a conversation about it and to know exactly what they're thinking about. So the forwards, in alphabetical order: Deegan, Doris, Delan, Furlong, Healy, Dave Heffernan, no caps. But a hooker from Connacht, who obviously has been very impressive so far this season and has caught the attention of the new coaching ticket. Ian Henderson, Rob Herring, who is first or second choice because the next name after him is Ronan Kelleher, Dave Kilcoyne, Jack McGrath back, Jack O'Donoghue, great, we want to see him get a fair bit of game time as well. Peter O'Mahony, Tom O'Toole, Andrew Porter, James Ryan, CJ Stander, Devon Toner, and Josh van der Fleer. So Tom O'Toole, interesting name in there. Jack O'Donoghue in there completely on merit. Rob Herring will be looking at the fact that he is fully fit at the moment, I think, certainly.
It's bad how
Ronan Kelleher not fully fit.
There's just been a complete clear out in the hooker position in the space of 1 year. Like, the top 3 would have been Best, Scannell, Sean Cronin this time 12 months ago. Now you've got 3 new faces.
Yeah, and so the backs there also pretty interesting. Will Addison straight in. You're like, okay, alphabetical order, I'm going to be first or not there at all. So Will Addison is in. Bundy Aki, Billy Burns. So if Sexton isn't fit, it's Billy Burns and Ross Byrne fighting it out there. Andrew Conway, John Cooney, Keith Earls, Chris Farrell, Robbie Henshaw, Dave Carney, who I think might get a fair bit of game time because he has been very, very good. He's played every game. That helps. Jordan Larmour, Luke McGrath, Conor Murray, Gary Ringrose, Sexton and Stockdale. So there was a bit of speculation that maybe Jameson Gibson Park would be in, but Luke McGrath gets the nod. And it was Stuart McCluskey was the name that yesterday on this show was picked in his starting 15 by Stephen Ferris, who didn't even make the squad.
No, but I guess when you look at Ireland's midfield, it's not necessarily an area that's let Ireland down badly in recent times. You can pick out different parts of the squad and you'd be like, they've been disappointing. The midfield really hasn't. Those 4 names in Ringrose, Henshaw, Farrell and Aki have all been pretty good, and they haven't had absolute clangers. Henshaw struggled to get back from his injury in the World Cup, but everybody...
Now he's back.
Yeah, now he's back.
Look, there was brilliant points made yesterday by Stephen Ferris about how the players who have played have been given an opportunity, and so therefore all of the evidence that we have is based on the players who are playing. And the players who are playing have not been largely subject to the player management. So there's this weird scenario where these couple of months where it's not the current Irish coaching tickets team. So, for example, Rhys Ruddock might have had his minutes managed. But if Rhys Ruddock hadn't had his minutes managed because he was part of the Ireland squad, he might have had enough game time to get into the Ireland squad. Yeah. So he's got punished. There's like this weird, like, you're not playing because you're part of the World Cup squad.
Well, that's it. The reason why Max Deegan has got so much game time is because Rhys Ruddock was in Japan.
Like, and so he shoots forward ahead of him. I mean, maybe you don't get that back. You know, there are a bunch of other scenarios where players have played themselves in. So he was making the point about Cooney. Like, after the Munster game, Munster get hammered. Everybody goes, Munster being pushed backwards. He's like, yeah, but if you look at the very basics that Conor Murray was doing, they were all excellent. His box kicking was superior, was the point that Stephen Ferris made yesterday to John Cooney's. So it's being able for the Irish management to be able to read exactly what's going on, to know exactly the minutes that are being played, and to be getting the statistical data about are they hitting their career peaks and number of rucks hit, all that kind of stuff that like we don't get access to that information that goes into making up a squad like this. And then lo and behold, certain players have put their hands up and might be playing away. Ultan Dillane is somebody I'm dying to see back in an Ireland shirt, in a starting Ireland shirt. There's a bite to Ultan Dillane. There's an aggression to Ultan Dillane that I think will be brilliant to see. And who knows, maybe he is the natural partner for James Ryan. Like, that's a possibility.
In the long run, possibly.
Right now, he's not old. He's not young. He's like
mid-20s, I suppose.
Like, let's have a little bit of mix and match and see, and put a bit of pressure on Henderson, and maybe put a bit of pressure on James Ryan as well, just to go, look, it's been seamless for you so far. Everybody says you're the next captain. You bed your place down in the team. You become the world-class player that we think you're going to become. Don't settle for being the best Irish player. You got to get up there. You got to get into the Lions team.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Here's a little bit of pressure for you. Let's see your spot.
You've got to be comparing yourself at Mara Itoje and Brodie Retallick. You know, that's the level that James Ryan should be aspiring to. It's an interesting theory. Like, I'd like to see it in action. It's definitely not going to be boring seeing Ultan Dillane playing beside James Ryan. But I think the Henderson-Ryan partnership at the moment just looks a little bit out of reach, a tiny bit. Now, one bad game, a little
Henderson
bit.
that good in the World Cup that he's safe?
Like, I'm not saying it's completely indestructible, but I would definitely say they're worth a start in the Scotland game. They've definitely earned at least that.